Hi guys, what's going on? It's JB here, and I'm going to do the question and answer session for the football commentary. So I'm going to get straight on to your questions. Last week I asked for people to bring questions in, and now I'm going to answer all those questions for you, and I'm going to do it right now. And I'm going to because you've been inundating me with the questions and everything else, and I'm going to share some experiences and some stories with you, what the future holds for the commentaries on the YouTube channel, because hopefully we'll get bigger and better. We're looking to do other things as well, but I'm going to answer most of your questions. A few of you have asked questions on just on my JB Claret Facebook page and of course the video we did last week. So anyway, we're going to get straight into the video and let's receive the first question. Russ Vernon asks, how long does it take to do all your prep work prior to a game? Which current form of broadcasting got you into commentary, and the best game you commentated on, not excluding Burnley games? Fantastic questions there, Russ. How long does it take me to do the prep work? It takes me a day or so. Obviously, I need to read up and look at the two teams in a bit more detail. But what I usually do is an hour before, a couple of hours when I get the team sheet, I'll write down stats and facts the day before previous meetings and such like on a piece of A4. But on the day of the game, I divide a sheet of A4 paper when I get the team sheet through. A good source of me getting the team news is on BBC's website. I split the page in half. And one side we do the home team, the other side we do the away team, plus substitutes and a few facts and figures, referee and where he comes from. Because I always like to say, this is Michael Oliver from County Durham and all that lot, and that's really is it. And then you just let the game flow, and really the prep work is absolutely essential. But I mean, as you all know, yourself covering the Cup this weekend, we've had so many good games. You don't really get the opportunity to really get into your stats and facts and figures and how many goals have been scored prior to that. Because if the game's such a good game, you just go with the flow of the game. As long as you get the names right of the players, I think that's important as well. As for the current broadcaster that got me into commentary, well, there's a few that I can mention. Honourable mentions for John Motson and Barry Davies on the BBC, but the one, and there was other, and I'll go into people that did other sports as well, because I think that's important as well. The one football commentator that got me into football commentary was the late great Brian Moore, who used to do the commentary on ITV, because he had a passion for it. He could build up a big event and give it, and really do it justice. He could turn a dull match into a good match, even if the match was dull. He still perform an entertaining commentary with Ron Atkinson. So he was the football commentator of mine. But I do admire commentators from other sports: David Coleman on the Athletics, Reg Gutteridge and Harry Carpenter, who did boxing, Peter O'Sullivan, who did the racing. I think I have to respect horse racing commentators, because they've got a very tough job in their sport, because they, especially when it's national homes and a jump season, because if you're doing the Grand National commentary and you're doing the part of the race where they're coming up to the chair and the water jump, obstacles they take once in that great race, you've got to obviously look at the chair. If you've got about 30 or 40, you've got about 35 horses left in the race, provided they've not fallen around Beecher's Brook the first time, coming over the chair, you've got to identify, obviously you've got to go with the leaders, and then obviously you've got to check for fallers at the chair, and then you've got to go straight to the water jump, which is about a few seconds after the chair has been completed. So, and the identification and the amount of homework that horse racing commentators put in is astronomical. Tennis, rugby and tennis again, Bill McLaren, Dan Maskell on tennis. No, Brian Moore was the one for me as regards football commentary, although, Motti and Barry Davies will certainly get honourable mentions. The best game I've commentated on, well, there's so many. Obviously, I'd love to, as I say, the question's not about Burnley, so this weekend we've done some terrific FA Cup games. I did Manchester City comeback win at Swansea, and then I did the Millwall game the next day where I thought Millwall had got through, and I probably put the curse of death on them, unfortunately, sadly. But David Martin's mistake, I felt so sorry for him. But that was a dramatic game, and nearly 2,000 of you actually came on and tuned into our coverage. So, big up to you guys for that. But the best game I've actually commentated on non-Burnley would probably be the last year's World Cup. Actually, the whole tournament I actually thought was a great tournament. I did 4 out of the 6 England matches. I did the semi-final, and I never thought when we started out our World Cup coverage last year we'd be covering England in a semi-final. So to get the opportunity, I was beside myself when Trippier scored, because I followed his career right from his early days at Burnley, and I really wanted England to go through, and Trippier to actually get to a World Cup final. That would have been what a perfect ending that would have been for Trips, but it wasn't to be. And then the World Cup final itself was absolutely brilliant. I think the World Cup final is probably got to be the one for me. 4-2, one of the best World Cup finals I've ever seen, and I got to commentate on it. And it was brilliant. France and Croatia put up a fantastic spectacle, and and that's probably the best game I've ever commentated on yet. 6 goals, VAR controversy, penalty controversy. It had the lot, plenty to keep us going, and the best 3-4 World Cup final I've ever seen in my lifetime as well. And I had the privilege of commentating on it here on this very YouTube channel. I hope that answers all your questions, Russ. Andy of Essex asks, what's the best goal you've live commentated on? When will Chris be back commentating? And what derby game do you highlight at the start of the season? Very good questions, Andy. Excellent questions. First of all, I'll talk about Chris. Chris, I'm always in contact with a lot of the time. He's been busy with other things, obviously. Won't go into too many details, but we hope to have him back on the air by the end of the season. Towards the end of the season, hopefully we can get a semi-final, get him on one of the FA Cup semi-finals. What derby games? Well, it depends on how the fixture list goes. I would like, in an ideal world, to try and cover most of the derby matches. I'm ashamed that we haven't done a Merseyside one yet, which this year has passed us by, but hopefully next season we'll get that. And the problem we've got that is that it's down to television and Sky and BT. They all want the derby, or the Premier League. For some reason, they want the derby. Most of the derby matches played on the same weekend. You got your Manchester derby, and then the North London and Merseyside derbies have tended to be on the same weekend, which doesn't help because they're all passionate derbies in their own right. We did the Second City one earlier in the season, that 4-2, that brilliant 4-2 game at Villa Park. I think that's one of the best games in terms of league terms that I've covered this season. It was an epic game. Very disgusted though with the scenes in the second game, of course. And what's the best live goal I've ever commentated on? God, there's so many live goals I've commentated on. Actually, Gareth Bale's one in the European Cup final last season. I think the technique to score a goal from the overhead kick, it took the breath away. I did the European final. I thought Liverpool at one point. Liverpool were in that game, got back to 1-1 after Karius's mistake, and then Bale just pulls out a great goal, eclipses his manager Zidane. Zidane scored a cracking goal in 2002, but Bale last season in the European Cup final just eclipsed that. And I think that's probably technically the best goal I've actually had the privilege of being live at the microphone to actually describe on this YouTube channel. So I would probably go for Bale's goal in the Champions League final last season. But great questions nonetheless, Andy. Well done. TFCHD, and we know him as Panini for obvious reasons, because his name used to be called Panini, TFC meaning the football channel. Do you find that his real name is Matt? Do you find the last hour before a match stressful? Manchester United supporter, says, if you could co-host or co-commentate with a football match with any commentator or presenter, past or present, who would it be and why? And also, what final of any football competition gives you the most satisfaction to commentate on? Well, I'd like to work with some of the female presenters, I think, and the commentators, because I think they're all good. I think Jackie Oakley does a good job. I also like Kelly Dalglish on 5 Live. I think she's brilliant. Laura Woods on Talk Sport. But the blogs, Saggers, I think on Talk Sport is quite an enthusiastic kind of guy, and I like him very much as a broadcaster. And I think the female pundits, I think, are quite good, and I'm glad to see they're coming very high on the agenda now. You've got Alex Scott at Sky and BBC. You've got Rachel Brown on BT, Rachel Brown Finnis, Karen Carney on BT Sport, and also Sue Smith, who works for BBC as well. So, I'd like to see a few more of the women, and of course, Vicky Sparks and Robin Cowan doing very good as female commentators. I think there should be more of them, and I think we should have an equal share of male and female commentators. As for a final of any football competition, if it's annually the FA Cup final, it stands above anything else. I mean, the Champions League's great to do, and I've done the World Cup final and I've done the European final, but there's nothing better than Cup final day, the FA Cup final, to stir the spirit and get you in a mood for 90 minutes of being. It's like the football match you watch when you were growing up. The FA Cup, when I was growing up, we had no Sky. So, we had, and the only live match was the FA Cup. So the FA Cup final is above everything that I strive to do, because it's a great thing to do, and in any England match as well, or the World Cup or the European Championships. Again, that's internationally as well. Those are the competitions I enjoy doing the most. Final question of the video, it comes from Mike Hardyman, a great friend of mine on Facebook and DJ at Storm FM, and a keen football fan himself, an Arsenal fan. What made you decide to take up doing the commentaries and creating a YouTube channel? And also, do you have any tips for anyone who wants to get into it? It's a good question. Good question. First of all, what made me decide to do it? Well, to cut a long story short, I'd lost my mum a few years ago, and I was depressed. I was down. I did have the YouTube channel. I think I'd been running for about 3 or 4 years, and I just basically put classic Burnley videos up and just normal gaming stuff just to pass away the time. And then in 2016, I did a canvassing job for a windows and doors company, and the guy that was giving me lifts to the places we were canvassing always had TalkSport on, and I was inspired by that, really. And I thought, well, I could give radio commentary a go, because I'd uploaded a few Burnley highlights with television commentary for myself, but they weren't getting much views. And I thought, what if we could do live commentaries? I did. We had 2 obstacles. One was the Premier. I wanted to show action as well, but the problem is when the Premier League and the FA start, obviously getting you get struck by the FA and UEFA and the Premier League. You just wonder anyway. Anyway, the best way I did it, I had FIFA at the time. I had a PS4. I could stream. And that's how I got into doing the matches. We did the Burnley running in 2016, which was great. Got a few hundred viewers. And then we did the Euros. We did 20 matches from the European Championships. I did them all. We've done 3-4 seasons of English football and European football. Plus, we've done a World Cup. And we're on our 57th game this season. And I think we've probably done 200, 300 live games. And I've not looked back. And on Sunday, we got nearly 2,000 listeners in on the Millwall Brighton game, which was absolutely amazing. So but the point is, I was depressed and low with nothing to do when I lost my mum, and that gave me, and doing the commentaries actually gave me the thing to do, and obviously it's grown from there, and we've got nearly 558 subscribers, nearly 560 subscribers as well. So the subscriber list is coming on very, very well as well. As for tips, well, I've done things like commentators workshops run by my good friend Barry Swain. Unfortunately, he doesn't do them now, But the best way to do it, if you are serious, do it as a hobby. That's why I do it as a hobby. I don't do it as a paid hobby. I've done reporting on a couple of league games. I had to busk it in Accrington once in the pouring rain. I think I was covering, what was I covering? I was covering Cambridge for a local community radio station. So some of the early gigs you get are tough because you're out in the elements, and I had to busk it, ringing up the radio station, giving 15-minute updates on Accrington against Cambridge on a murky Saturday afternoon in Accrington, absolutely soaked out of my skin, and I had to do it round the corner away from any Cambridge fans, because I was stuck in with Cambridge fans the whole day, and they were totally and abjectly miserable. And I actually did the full-time report outside the ground. So, when you get your first few jobs in the field, as it were, it is a tough business. But stick with it. Non-league football is sometimes a good route. And also go to your non-league football grounds if you want to go and do commentaries on site, because they're always looking to get games covered as well, which is something I will certainly look at doing in the future. And just knock on a few doors, and you never know what might come. Well, thank you very much indeed for your questions. Thank you very much to everyone that's brought in a question. I've enjoyed making this video and answering a few of the questions and answering all your questions. And I hope you've had very satisfactory replies. Thank you very much. And enjoy the rest of the season with our commentaries and FIFA videos. And we'll be endeavouring to do more sports as well as the year goes on, with so much sport coming up in the next 12 months. But thank you very much for watching. From me, JB, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.